Before I start my project, I'm going to place a pillow behind my back. This is to ensure I'm safe while working on my project and I'm not at risk of a back injury. I will also take breaks for my eyes as I'll be constantly looking at my computer screen. I will also maintain stretches throughout my project so that my body does not tense up during this process. For this photo, I adjusted the color balance by creating a more blue, cool tone to match with the model's clothing. I wanted to cut out the background and create a PNG of just the model, so I used a polygonal lasso tool to cut around the model, but I figured cutting out the background was a more fast and sufficient way to do this. I transferred the PNG to a new template and cut out any excess background that I had using the polygonal lasso tool again. Using Adobe Illustrator, I started creating my illustration by following the outline of the photo using the curvature tool. After I did 5 layers of them, I changed the color to blue to fit with the blue theme I wanted to incorporate for this page. I placed my final illustration in my magazine and started my formatting. Here I am just choosing the background colors of this page and including more designs while keeping to the blue theme. Here I am adding in text to continue the design, and I purposely did 2 long paragraphs for each box to create a symmetrical format. I placed the 3 boxes beside each other and made sure they were placed with even spaces in between. I put the headings in bold in order for them to stand out more from the rest of the text. I started off by editing this photo by emphasizing the green colors in this photo. By adjusting and moving around the color balance, I enhanced the green and tried to create a more contrasted photo by balancing out the shadows and the highlights. For my second illustration, I wanted to recreate the lines of this sample photo. I created a second layer and used the curvature tool on Adobe Illustrator to trace above the photo, using white lines. Once this was completed, I put it behind a photo in my magazine to create the page to be more interesting. Here I started cutting out the second model/photo by using the polygonal lasso tool. I made sure I cut out any fine details. After that, I placed it in Adobe Illustrator and tested out different designs and illustrations behind the image. I wanted to incorporate bright colors as the photo was black and white to create a color contrast. After trying out different designs, I decided that I didn't like the first design I made, so I started to trace around the model's clothing and facial features. I used the curvature tool to do this and chose bright colors to create the color contrast I originally wanted. As you can see, I went over details of the face, including eyebrows, nose, ears, and hairline. I also decided to trace the model's clothing and match the colors with the original colors of the overalls, creating a jean-colored look. I chose a range of colors to create a rainbow aesthetic for this illustration. I was satisfied with the way the final illustration turned out, and I wanted to choose a soft color for the background to enhance the photo and the illustrations. I decided on a soft pink color as the background and added 2 more yellow line illustrations on the exterior of the model. I also placed a yellow circle behind the model's head to create a sun effect. I like the way it looks with the model's cross-legged position. I then placed it into my magazine and added a magazine logo. I also worked in details including page numbers, mini headings, and a text box to have a consistent design. With these pages, I wanted to create a sunset theme while also trying out different illustrations. I also made the text white to contrast with the pink background. I continued my context page and added more titles along their page numbers. I have been continuing my context as I go along, creating more pages of my magazine to follow through with the correct page numbers with their titles. I added in small square photos and lined them up with the numbers and text. This will allow the photos to look as if they were purposely placed in their positions, and here I am making sure the photos are all in the same height and width so that the photos look neat and symmetrical with one another.